Good evening, everyone. This is Debbie Henderson from Debbie's Designs. Welcome to my Sunday share. I'm going to give it a few more seconds for people to join me tonight. I hope you're having a great Sunday. So just a few things before I get started. The Hello Cupcake is my stamp set for my door prize this month. Anyone that placed an order with me for the whole month of January, your name will be entered to win this stamp set. My hostess code for January, when you place an order, make sure you use this code in the hostess code box when you check out, and you'll get some free products from me. So tonight I am featuring the Home To Roost stamp set, which is a stamp set that you can earn for free during Sale-A-Bration with a $50 order. The item number for this stamp set is 149736, and this is a clear mount stamp set. So you can see I'm using most of the stamps tonight. So good evening, everyone. I can see you all coming on, so I'm going to get started. So tonight I'm using the Sale-A-Bration Product of the Week feature. I've got 2 cards for you and then a mini pizza box. I'm going to show you how to do all 3 of these projects. The first one I'm going to start with is this one. It's Whisper White over Whisper White. We got a little bit of stamping, some blend markers, and a punch shape. And this is also white embossed. I'm going to show you how I do that. So for products tonight, I've got my Stamping Buddy, Versamark ink, Memento Black ink, Crushed Curry ink, the Tailored Tag Punch, white embossing powder. Seems like a lot for such a simple card, doesn't it? Let me see. For cardstock, the card base is thick Whisper White, 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2. And while I'm folding this on the score line, don't forget to share my video as you're watching. You might have a friend that would love to see me creating 2 cards tonight. Layer number 2 is the regular Whisper White cardstock, 4 inches by 5 1/4, a scrap piece of white, and then Call Me Clover scrap for the sentiment. Now the first thing I'm going to do is the sentiment only because it's heat embossed, and card number 2 also uses white embossing, so I'm going to do both sentiments with you. So I'm going to bring in the Versamark ink. I'm going to use my Stamping Buddy to add some powder to my cardstock. For those of you that don't have this, this takes away the static and the greasy fingerprints on your cardstock. Now for the one on card number 1, I'm using Missing You. The Versamark ink is a clear ink. I'm going to bring in the white embossing powder. I keep all of my embossing powders in containers so I don't want to make a mess over my counter. So there's the powder that's stuck to the Versamark ink. The next sentiment for card number 2 is Thanks for Your Friendship. So I'm going to go ahead and do the embossing powder on this also. Now I know every time I use my containers like this, there's always somebody that will ask me if I have rice in my containers, in my powder, and yes I do. The rice actually absorbs the moisture, and I also have one of these little pill packs also. I just keep that in there so that my embossing powder stays nice and dry. Now I'm going to make a little bit of noise with my heat tool. And this will just take a few seconds to heat up, and then you'll see the powder melting. And you can see it turn very white when it starts to melt. Okay, there's the first one. I'm going to hold this one down with some scissors. I just need to blow on that. Okay, I'm going to do this one over only because the S and the H are a little blurry. So let me just wipe that off. I'm going to flip that over. It looks like it got smudged a little bit there. So let me try that again, make sure it comes out better this time. There, that's better. So let's try that again. I just couldn't make out the S and the H on the other one. You can see that's getting dark already. Okay, so both of my sentiments are done. So let's continue to card number 1. I'm going to bring in the Memento Black ink. And this is my little rooster. He's so cute. And then on the card layer number 2, we're going to use crushed curry ink. Let me move some of this stuff aside. And then what I did here is I stamped 3 times. So I'm going to start out right in the center. And then I'm going to do 1 on each side. Okay, so that's it on those. Next, I'm going to show you a little trick that I did. Let me clean off my stamp. I used a basic black Stampin' Right marker. Let me show you why. See the little black oats in there? I'm actually going to use the one on the very top. I'm just going to color that with my marker. And then I'm going to just add it in there. See how it just adds just a single one? And I'm just going to do a few of those. So that's just a little bit of a tip to single out a part of a stamp. Let me do one more. See, and it looks like it was part of the whole image anyway. Isn't that neat? Okay, now for the rooster, I'm using the, I can't remember if this is light or dark. This is the dark smoky slate. And all I did was add a little bit of highlights. I didn't want a lot of color. And to soften up the edges, I'm going to use my color lifter and actually just color way on the edge. And you'll see that that'll blend into the white cardstock. I'm just repeatedly going over the edge. And that's it for that. Now I need to cut that out with my paper snips. Unfortunately, we don't have dies to go with this set. But fussy cutting is very therapeutic anyway. I know a lot of you guys don't like to fussy cut, but I do. Now, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about my events. I've had quite a few of you guys message me privately to find out if I have events regularly on my Facebook page, which I do. What you need to actually do is to find my events tab and click on the events tab, and you'll see all of my events listed. I have my videos all listed for a year in advance. And once you find that events tab, you either need to click on interested or going, and you'll get a notification when I go live. Usually you get notified an hour or two ahead of time, and then again right before I go live. Okay, now for the sentiment, I'm using the tailored tag punch. And now we can assemble card number 1. This one's quite easy. Clean and simple, but it's really cute. Whoops. So I'm seeing a lot of you guys saying that you like to fussy cut. I just find it so relaxing. Sometimes when Dave and I go away, have to travel, I bring some fussy cutting with me in the car. Okay, next up is the sentiment and the rooster are both glued with dimensionals. So this little guy is going to go slightly over to the right. And then we're going to slide the sentiment under his tail. Okay, and there's card number 1. How easy was that? A little bit of splash of color with the blends, some stampings, and then the little tip about stamping with the Stampin' Right marker. I see a lot of love. Thanks, guys. Okay, let me clear off and set up for card number 2. Okay, I've got a lot of supplies here for card number 2. So I'm using the Crackle stamp. This is a large background stamp. That's from the Occasions catalog. And I chose this myself. I'm not sure what they used on this card. You can't really see a lot of it. But I thought the Crackle stamp was perfect for using with the rooster image. So this is my card number 2. We've got Soft Suede, Calypso Coral, So Saffron, and Balmy Blue for inks. I've got a little sponge for the Balmy Blue. I've showed you guys how to do this before, but I'll explain it again in case you're new. The sponge is actually round. I cut it in 4 wedges. This is from one of my punches, the Everyday Label punch. I fold it in half and staple it. That way I don't have to clean this, and I know what color my ink is that goes with that. We also need the aqua painter. And then of course this is the sentiment that I've already done. I just need to cut that a little smaller. Balmy Blue, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then Whisper White. This one measures 4.5 by 3 1/4. So let me go ahead and clean off the stamps that I used on card number 1. Okay, so the first step I'm going to do is the background with the Crackle image. Now, because this is such a large image, it's easier to use this flipped facing up. I'm going to use Balmy Blue ink. I'm going to tap it all the way across. Next, I'm bringing my card base in. And this one, you don't have to be too fussy as far as being too straight, as long as it's on the rubber. I'm going to use a scrap piece of paper and just rub across. And this will transfer the ink. Okay, now let's pick this up and look how pretty that is. Isn't that neat? I love that stamp. You guys won't regret buying this if it's on your wish list. Okay, now let's bring in the white layer. I'm going to use the Balmy Blue very lightly, sponge in the center of the cardstock piece. And I'm only doing in the middle. I'm not going edge to edge. Okay, that's all I'm going to do there. Next is soft suede. And I'm going to stamp this. I don't know if this is wheat or oat or barley but anyway, it's a grain, 2 grain images. Next is the rooster, again with soft suede. And then I'm going to bring in So Saffron, Calypso Coral, and Balmy Blue. Now the blue, I'm just going to use the aqua painter and just smooth it out. And let's see, I'm going to add a little bit more to his tail. Now I am using an aqua painter, so you have to be a little careful not to smear the soft suede ink. So I'm just lightly touching. Now I'm using Calypso Coral. And I'm actually just pouncing on this one because I don't want the soft suede ink to smear. Next is So Saffron, same thing. I'm just going to pounce. So you can see that the ink lines are not smearing at all. And let's add a little bit of Calypso Coral into the mix. Okay, that's all I'm going to do. Oh, and I have actually some So Saffron mixed into the grain. I'm just making strokes on that. So you can see that I've got the So Saffron mixed in there, and then my little rooster. Hope you can see that all right. This one turned out a little bit darker than this one. Now let me move these ink pads. Next, I'm going to add dimensionals to the back of the white layer. I can see some oohing and ahhing on the crackle background stamp. If I made you buy this tomorrow or tonight, I'm sorry. I did that on purpose anyway. And let me see, this is some of the burlap ribbon. It actually measures 2.5 inches long, and I just cut on the ends. And I'm going to add some snail. So yeah, you guys don't blame me if I make you shop. Okay, and then next I want to cut this as small as I can. That's why I wasn't too fussy on it being straight. And because I'm gluing on burlap, I'm going to add the liquid glue. Okay, so there's card number 2. So as I said, you can see that this one is a little bit darker in the background than the first one. Okay, let's move on to card number or project number 3. Now number 3 is the mini pizza box. And it's got a little tag, and the rooster and the sentiment are raised when I glue them in place. So on this one, we're using the pizza box. If you guys haven't bought these, everything is pre-scored. On the inside, we have a glossy finish, so it's food safe if you want to add food to the inside. All you do is press down on the score lines all the way around. They're so quick and easy to assemble. Now I'm going to pull in the 2 sides. Fold the front down, and the front actually pops into these 2 little holes right there. And that's it. How quick is that? Now, a little thing I'm going to cheat tonight just to show you that I wanted to do the same pattern that I used on the designer paper, but I ran a little short. So what I'm going to do is actually add a piece of old olive on the back side. You won't even see it when I'm done. It would help if I made it straight too. That's okay, it's going to be covered anyway. So next, I'm going to place it on the pizza box and just pinch my way through it. And then use my bone folder. So I'm not scoring, I'm just pinching my way around the box. Same with this side. And you'll see why I had to add a little piece on the end. And nobody will know. I won't tell them, and I hope you won't either. So this goes on the front. So you can see it just barely fit, and I didn't think I'd have enough there to glue it in place. So that's why I did what I did. Okay, where's my front? Right there. So now I can glue that in place, and you don't even know that I added an extension there. And this will actually slide off and on. Next, we're going to add the ribbon. And this ribbon measures, let's see, 24 inches long. I'm going to tie a bow. Now, where are my scissors? I'm just gonna angle the ends. Move this up here. Okay, now next I've already gone ahead and cut the circle for the rooster. This is the 2 1/4 inch circle punch. I'm going to bring in my little grain image with the old olive ink, and I'm just barely going to add some of this to the bottom of the tag. So 3 little snippets, and then I have a 1/4 inch handheld punch just to make a small hole, the jute twine, and I'm just going to thread that under the bow and see if I can make a knot here. Hopefully I didn't cut this too short. You know what? I did. Let me try that again. I didn't leave myself any wiggle room. So let's make it a lot longer. And now I can get in close and just snip the ends. So there's my little tag. Now I want to hide that knot by putting it underneath, or close to the top anyway. So now let's do one more rooster. Just got to clean him off. And again, we are using the Memento Black. And this time for blends markers, I've got the light Daffodil Delight and the light Calypso Coral. And I didn't shade him this time. All I did was add the color. Very easy. So you gotta watch me cut a rooster out one more time. So if any of you guys are new to stamping, you know that the best way to gather up some new products is at a discount. It's a great time to join right now during Sale-A-Bration. I'll explain that as I cut here. You can join by choosing $175 worth of product of your choice, anything you want, and pay $99 and free shipping. I keep saying I don't know why someone would want to pay full price for their products when they can get them at a 20% discount. So if any of you guys are new and you have questions on that, please message me. Okay, now I had to make him a little short on the circle here, so I had to chop off his legs. But I won't tell if you don't. Okay, so let's glue him in place on the tag. And the last step is we're going to use this long sentiment that says enjoy the simple moments, but we're just using the word enjoy. And how I'm going to do that is again with the marker. I'm going to color just the word enjoy. So this is called selective coloring. I'm going to stamp that on Whisper White. So see how I turned a long sentiment into a one-worded sentiment. Now we're going to create a small banner. And one more dimensional. And I'm going to stick that under the rooster's belly. So there we go. There's project number 3. So let me bring them all back in so you can see them all. So there's the pizza box. There's card number 2 with the crackle. And then card number 1, which was the clean and simple card. So a reminder that if you share my video on your page, and I do check your page to make sure it's there if I pick your name, I will pick a name tomorrow sometime for a winner to win all 3 of these projects. Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. I'll be on live again with my Paper Pumpkin alternative projects. So make sure you check in. That's 10 a.m. Eastern time. So thanks so much for visiting me tonight, everyone. I hope you have a good remainder of the day, and I hope you have a good week. See you tomorrow.